Good morning, Suzuki Science, and welcome to Wednesday. So normally on Wednesdays I do the Wild Wednesdays, where I take an opportunity to do something from my zoo room or outside in the nature that I live in. This week I'm going to devote Wild Wednesdays to the grade 11 scavenger hunt, I guess we'll call it. You know what it is, what we're talking about. I'll show that in just a moment. But I want to come back to the question of the week. That's the other thing I'd like you to focus on, because at this point, it's a pretty good question, and we have not that many of you participating, considering there are 3 classes that can answer this question. So in this question of the week, I gave you a game, 3 truths and a lie. It's a game that a lot of people play socially. You play euchre or poker or some Nintendo game, and sometimes you don't have any activity, any devices, you just have these words. And so this is a popular game where you say 3 truths and 1 lie, and then whoever you're competing against must figure out what is the truth and what is the lie. So in this situation, I gave you 3 scenarios. In the first one, I gave you a scenario where there is supposedly these little nuclear bombs that can be blown up to send a spacecraft hurtling through the depths of space, and they can make it to the nearest star, Alpha Centauri, traveling at a tenth of light speed in 47 years or something like that. So is that a truth or is that a lie? The next scenario was something about BrainNet and being able to connect brains together non-invasively. So you're not sticking a probe into someone's brain. You're putting a cap on their head potentially and using transcranial magnetic stimulation of some sort, and then sending signals from one brain to another, kind of like an internet where the brain is connected in a sense. So is that a truth or is that a lie, right? In order to determine this, you would likely have to do a little bit of research. So when you see a document like this with an abstract and an introduction, does that make you think it's truth, or does it make you think that it's a lie? In the third one, NASA scientists have detected evidence of a parallel universe. It's interesting listening to some of your reasonings for why you chose one as a truth, why you chose one as a lie. So here is an article. Welcome to the Antiverse, and this is in the New Scientist. Look very carefully at what the article title is saying. And here is another article about the same thing. So once again, what do you use, what do you determine, what do you look at in the resource to determine if it's a truth or if it's a lie, right? And the last statement, the last scenario was using organisms that have been modified, we call it synthetic biology, and they've been modified in such a way that they are able to be put into a toxic soup, a toxic dump of some sort, and if the situation is fine, they'll have one color, potentially glowing one color, and the situation is dire, they might glow another color, red, stop, to stay away, or something like that. So once again, here are some of the resources that talk about this particular scenario, and when you take a look at them, how much of it is being used by you to determine if it's a truth or a lie. So for those of you who have not played in this game yet, I would encourage you to use the Wednesday, the time I normally use for Wild Wednesdays, if you were to come in and try it. Do the question of the week, and let's get a collegial discussion. And then I've also asked you, for those of you who want to play a bit more, I'd like you to provide 2 truths and a lie. I've given you this little article here from New Scientist magazine, and in it talks about how to determine if the science is suspect, whether or not you should believe it, or whether or not you should critically analyze it and think twice. So you'll see there's a number of students already, not that many, but a number of students already who have provided their perspective, and they've played the game. They've provided 2 truths and a lie, and you could play along and see if you are agreeing or disagreeing. Okay? So I'd like to see more, and then we can talk more about that a little bit later. And the second activity that I gave to the grade 11s, and you all could listen to this if you'd like, It is a competition. It is the evaluation for the diversity unit, but it's also kind of a competition. And I asked you to join iNaturalist. And as I look at the iNaturalist page here, I see that at this moment, as of 12:39 on May 27th, wow, time flies, we have 161 observations. So that's just in a little over 24 hours. 161 observations, 117 different species have been identified by the grade 11 group, and we have 32 people who have identified the organisms that have been placed in to say, yes, these are accurate, and 12 different players so far. 17 people are in it, but 12 different observers. So as you take a look, we'll see that currently, in first place for most observations is 32. In second place, 25, 22, 17, 14. And then it keeps on ranking down if you click on View All. For the most number of species that have been identified, because you could say you can see one species several times if you'd like. Again, 28 is the highest, followed by 21, 13, 11, 5. And the most observed species of everyone that has been playing in this so far has been a mallard duck, which is really interesting. The American robin, which is everywhere, but evidently it's just as common as the mallard duck. The common dandelion, I think all of us could probably find a dandelion. Silver maple, Norway maple, Canada goose. I mean, it's only 2, so hopefully as more people play, we'll get a better view of what is the most observed species in our school area. It's more than the school area because, Mr. Martins is playing and I'm playing, and we both don't live in the school area. And I've noticed that as I looked at the map of where some of these observations have been, most have been in Brampton around the school. Some have been a little bit further. And I noticed Carly, you went up to, it looks like on your way to Caledon. And then you also went over to this, I don't even know what it is, but it's outside of Brampton. There's me, not even close. And then it looks like someone did a couple of views here in Oshawa as well. That's a long way to go as well. So you must have been doing something out there. So when we look at the breakdown of what's been observed so far, we'll see that 117 species, of which the majority have been plants, right? The majority have been plants. But we've had 2 mollusks, which is interesting. We've had many insects, excellent, right? What are these 2 mollusks that you've been able to find for us? The 2 mollusks that you've found so far, and in the lab notebook, notice that you were looking for other animals in addition to birds and mammals. So a mollusk is a good choice. So the mollusks we've seen, white-lipped snail and a brown-lipped snail. Okay, that's interesting. We have lots of insects that have been observed. Blowflies, oh, those hurt. Green bottle flies, a common housefly that you might see around. Hoverflies, calligraphy beetle, which looks a lot like a ladybug but without the red. Asian lady beetle, which is a ladybug. Eastern phantom crane fly. Take a look at this one here. This is a cool fly. Look at that. It's really cool. Very interesting crane fly. It looks much scarier than it actually is. It looks like a giant mosquito, but they're harmless. What other insects? We have gypsy moth, goldenrods, which are very common in Ontario, and sadly, and the gall fly. You might see these kind of structures. It's a fly that burrows into the goldenrod and makes this kind of abscess, and then it's a larva eats its way out and transforms into a fly. Ants are common, bumblebees and honeybees. Lots of ants, lots of bees. Okay, what else do we have that was? We have arachnids. So in arachnids, most of these are going to be spiders. However, there's been a couple of mites that have been found. So there's this mite here. Sometimes if you look at leaves, you see these little bumps on them. They're mites. So they're tiny little arachnids that have formed a part of the tissue around their body, and they're preying upon the tree. And you'll find mites on humans as well, but they're typically microscopic. You're not going to find those. And sidewalk mites, someone found that as well. That's really cool. And amphibians, there's only 2 that have been found so far. I think one is a toad and the other one's a leopard frog. So keep on looking. If in the wet areas, you're going to feed this time of year, there's lots and lots of amphibians. Reptiles. So 2 reptiles have been found. That's really good. Common snapping turtle. That's impressive. You found a snapping turtle and the painted turtle, which is unfortunately pretty common in Ontario as well. And birds, we've seen quite a few birds. Mammals, you think you see the mammals everywhere. What mammals have we seen? Probably squirrels and rabbits, right? So the eastern cottontail, that's a rabbit. Cattle, that's Carly as well. Skunk, someone's found a skunk. Hopefully it stayed away. Cottontail rabbits and a beaver. There's a beaver that's actually around the Suzuki as well. And there's many different species of squirrels, but you guys have seen the eastern gray squirrel. It's the only one you guys have seen. I bet it was black too. Okay. And other animals, the ones that don't fit in that category. What are they? Earthworm. You know that someone today was digging around looking for that earthworm. They worked hard to find it. And some other. This is a crustacean, the common pill woodhouse. So it belongs to the same group as your crabs and lobsters and crayfish. Believe it or not, it's the only terrestrial crustacean, the pill bug. Some people call it a potato bug. It doesn't live in potatoes, doesn't eat potatoes, doesn't look like a potato. Kind of weird. So you guys are doing a really good job so far. So hopefully more of the class can get involved and we can get this observation list up to, you know, maybe 500 or something like that. Get the species count. We're at 117. Wouldn't it be impressive to get up to 200? And if we get more of the grade 11s involved with this and observing, right now it's a grade 11 project. Right now I'm talking to everybody in my classes as well as Mr. Martin's grade 11 bio class. So if you'd like to be a part of this as well, let me know. You can, you know, join the fun. Getting outside and kind of, it's hot. I know it's hot, but you know, decompressing a little bit and looking for organisms. It's amazing the number of plants that you look at and you haven't really looked at them. And now with this particular activity, you're taking a much closer look at the plants, and you're recognizing that there's goldenrods and wild strawberries that are, and pines, white pines, eastern white pines, and oak trees and whatnot that you probably didn't recognize before. So I'm hoping that you are enjoying the activity, and I think that's it. So tomorrow today, Wild Wednesday, there is no live stream going out. And you're going to participate in the question of the week, and you're going to participate for grade 11s especially in the biodiversity project and work on your lab notebook. Grade 10s, you're working on your optics presentation. Grade 12s, we have the debate coming up, so everybody has something to do. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you soon.